This morning we're going to get started with an opening blessing by our Māori whānau. So I'm going to hand it over to them.
Ai, kia ora hoki mai tātou. Good morning, everybody. What an exciting day we had yesterday, and looking forward to our day today. Let me do a brief blessing. I'm drawing on, in the blessing I'm about to do, we're drawing on the power of the Creator, the power of nature, of our ancestors, to bring us together in a spirit of unity. So maybe if I can ask everybody to stand. E tēnei ko tahurua kāhu, tēnei ko tahurua kārewa he rewa ngā tū kia koe I o te taketake. E hakatau e te pū ora tahuta, hakatau e te pū ora te pū, hakatau e te pū ora o ngā whatukura. E ko te pū kā more kā weo kā kakarea, kā wao kā kone kā hoi kātau kā po e. E ko te mana tahuto kā he ki tira tahuto kā he ki ti hotua kātau kia whita. Whanno, haramai te tōki. Haumi e, hui e, tai ki e. Amen. Thank you, everybody.
Sheesh, thank you, Kate and Reweti. Well, good morning. My nan, when we would talk on the phone or when she would see me, the first thing she would say is, "Good morning to you." Ready? Good morning to you. What a nice way to start the day. There's lots of empty space up here if people want to move closer. I know like the coffee's back there, so there's like that direct infusion line happening, but there's also some space up here if you want to get a little closer. This morning we're starting off with some incredible speakers, some more dialogue today. We're going to be asking all of you, like we did yesterday, to be an engaged part of this process. We've structured it so that we have people come up to catalyze some different thinking or share some of their insights, and then give everyone here a chance to really start talking with each other, contextualizing it to our Alaska experience, thinking about what we can learn from each of these speakers to really inform the work of moving racial equity forward in Alaska. And yesterday, I don't know how many of you felt this way, but when I left yesterday, it just felt like my head was bursting. It was just packed full of information and not just the knowledge, but the insight about moving into places of discomfort. One of the speakers yesterday shared about that the science fiction written long ago by a black slave, the science fiction was that there was a world built around freedom. And when I was thinking about that last night, as I was kind of chewing on that last night, I was thinking about, in terms of our partnership for the next 10,000 years, what is our science fiction? What is the vision that we are seeking when we think about racial equity? Not just in what we think we can achieve, because we're all very practical and pragmatic. That will never happen. We can never get there. We should just try to go for what we think we can get. And we kind of have that back chatter in our minds, but we also know we have that back chatter in our communities that tell us that those visions about what we think we can achieve are actually unattainable. And we have a lot of kind of intrinsic, internalized shifting we must do in order to lift those shackles off of our own ability to envision what our future should be. One of our Tlingit leaders of from a long time ago, he was one of the first Native attorneys. I think he might have been the first Native attorney, William Paul. He had a frustration with our Tlingit leadership at the time because they were trying to protect our people. They were trying to protect our lands. everything that we had, everything that we were about, our lands, our waters, our children, our families, everything about who we were culturally, ceremonially, everything was under attack. And our leadership was going at great guns trying to figure out how to address this. And William Paul was frustrated with the response, because the response of our leadership at the time was, we'll never be able to achieve that, so let's just go for what we think we can get. And his words to our leadership was, we know what's right. We know what is the right thing for our people. We know what is rightfully ours. Why would we ask for anything less? Why would we settle for anything less? Don't cut yourself back before somebody else does. You know what you need, so set yourself way out there. And in the process of community work and community organizing and community consensus building, all those other kind of boundaries and parameters will get tested, will get pushed. But if you never ask for what you know is right, if you can never reach beyond what you think you can get, then the ability to actually overcome the oppressions or the systems or the things that are hurting you or your family or your community, you'll never be able to achieve them, because you yourself never had enough backbone to stand up to it and to stand up for it. And when I think about that as a lesson from an ancestor, I think about whether I myself am constricting my own vision. Am I not seeing far enough over the horizon to know what is the best thing to do for our people? If I listen to my ancestors and think about some of the lessons and stories that they told me, kind of riffing off of what Jossie said yesterday, there are many ancestral tools and knowledges, wisdom, processes, ceremonies, celebrations that were done in order to help us as humans know how to thrive in this environment. And if there's a way to pull that into the future, that's my responsibility as a Tlingit and Haida woman to do. So I was thinking about, like, how do you actually stretch from here all the way to here and lift our own blinders off of our own experience that may be inhibiting our ability to really think more fluidly and more long-term about what we can achieve. So for me, my chew on the reflection homework from yesterday was, is that really a science fiction vision? Am I really setting out to do something that is revolutionary for my community? Or am I just trying to placate the masses and make everyone feel better in a way that allows them to take their medicine like a spoonful of sugar? And I don't really know where I'm at on that yet. I want to be able to challenge and stretch that far. And I want to be able to, I know what I believe to be right, but I also know that I need the vision and the wisdom from my community and the strength of my community to help me get there. And that collective knowledge and that collective relationship is primary. Withdrawing myself as an individual person from feeling like I have this need and someone needs to fill this need, to a place of what can I do for my community? What is my role to serve my people? How do I become the arms and legs for my ancestors, for my elders? How do I carry the water for them? And in the conversations we had last night even, and the relationships we were building together throughout the day, I hope you too were just as transformed in the thinking, that it not be transactional between who we are as Alaskans, as Native people, as people of color, as Euro-American folks who've come here, that our relationship not be tit for tat. You give me this, I'll give you this. If I help you here, you're going to help me here. When we get down to some of the things that were shared yesterday around what real allyship means and real community means, that it means that sometimes we've got to put ourselves in situations that make us hella uncomfortable. And not, when it becomes uncomfortable, say, well, okay, now I'm walking away from this. This is too much for me. And for me, that was my reflection. I know that all of you had that time to think about what it was you heard, what you're processing. So I wanted to just share for you that where I'm struggling right now and what I'm really excited to be struggling with is to further refine and think about what that science fiction vision for our community could really be. Are we reaching hard enough? And what more can we do to get there? So on behalf of all of us from yesterday and for our Board of Trustees and for our staff, I just want to again thank all of you and welcome you back to the second day of our Racial Equity Summit. So Ganesh Chish Hawa everyone for coming back. And I think we have some exciting people to start us off this morning. And I'm really excited to see where we go for the rest of the conversation. And I'm going to welcome up some of my other co-hosts here so we can move into the next part of the day.
I'm not that exciting person that she was just talking about. Uvlalotak, good morning. It's so nice to see your beautiful faces. Thank you for coming back so early in the morning. We're really excited for the day that we have planned. To kick off our day in a good way, we want to spend a little bit of time talking about the agreements that we set yesterday. We have some new folks joining us. Welcome. We're really happy to have you with us. And really to just be intentional about the kind of day that we want to have. Because today, we're going to actually create longer periods of time for us to have conversation with each other. So the agreements that we set for our time together are going to be even more important today. As always, our first, in every chair a leader. Every single person here, every person on the webcast who will be touched by these conversations, we really believe that your perspective, your experience, your values, and the way that you move about the world is a really important and valuable part of this conversation. And we ask you to bring your whole self into the conversation. We ask that you speak to be understood, that you're intentional with the words that you choose, that your intent is to help others understand what you're saying, what your experience is, why you feel that way, while also listening to understand, that we listen to each other with a curiosity that helps us to actually understand those differences that we have in experience, in the way that we feel about things, in the values that guide the way that we move about the world, that we're trying to create this bridge. It doesn't mean that we're going to walk out of this room feeling the same about everything. That's not what we want. But what we want is for there to be more understanding about those differences. That's going to help us have the language that we need to move forward. We ask that you be present and be engaged, that you make the most out of this time together because it's precious. This space, this time with these people, with everything that you've brought into the room, this will never happen again. Even if we assembled everyone here, all these same people next year, our experiences will be different. So this time is special. So let's honor that and really be engaged in this space. Valuing our time together, because we'll be in conversation with each other, it's really important that all of us protect the space to make sure that everyone has a chance to share. If that means reining yourself in to make sure that you create space for someone else, if that means enacting our agreements and asking someone to allow someone else to share, however we do that, we can do it in a respectful way. We want to value our time together and hear from everyone. It's a safe space for meaningful conversation. Hopefully you'll have had a chance to walk along this gallery of awesomeness that happened yesterday. These were just the notes that were harvested at the tables. You'll notice that they just capture thoughts. There's some themes that arise as you read the words that were shared. There's feelings of what was shared. But what this really captures is the feeling and the sentiment of what was shared. It's not, so-and-so said this. What we want to protect is the space. So, like I said yesterday, things that are said on stage, that's fair game. But when it comes to quoting each other in your conversations, ask for permission. And in the taking of notes, we don't attribute quotes or specific ideas to folks so that we can really just protect what it is that we're talking about. We're going to talk about the challenges that we face. We'll continue to talk about the challenges that we face. We have to, so we know what we're up against. But as we're doing that, be thinking about what's it going to take to really change this, because that's the conversation we're getting to together. Take your hats off, titles, roles, all of those things, so that you can bring your whole self into the conversation. We want all of the experience that you've had in your life in this conversation. As always, our value of humor helps us. This morning's going to kick us off in a great way for that. Use it as a way to further connect with each other. We are responsible for our experience. If you put yourself into these conversations and you're open, you will receive so much in return. We want to be very intentional about the experience that we have. If you're in a space and you're having an uncomfortable conversation and you're feeling that tension of, ooh, I don't feel that way, that's different than how I think, and you walk away from that conversation, you'll likely feel unsatisfied, or you'll feel like it wasn't a full conversation. It wasn't a true conversation. And so I want to challenge you in those moments to say what needs to be said so that we can have those truths in those conversations, that we take responsibility, that we're not like, oh, someone didn't share about this, or you should make sure that no. We have the responsibility to share our truths, and that's the conversation that we need to have. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. I saw this happening all day yesterday. It was beautiful. Taking care of our elders, bringing them coffee and water, taking care of each other. When times get hard, when we're sharing hard things, that's the space that we want to create with each other. And if you have any questions to see one of us, always, we're still wearing our atiklooks, kasbaks. So anything that you need, let us know. Do we feel like this is a good way to have our day together, these agreements? I'm loving that there's applause. It's like a new bar for me. I'm going to want applause every time now. Okay. Can you help us uphold these agreements with each other? Awesome. So we wanted to spend just a few minutes before we jump into our day to, at your tables, spend a little bit of time reflecting on yesterday. As Liz was sharing, so much knowledge was dropped on the stage, at the tables, in the hallways, at dinner afterward. It was a lot. There was a lot. I know I'm still processing through a lot of the things that were shared yesterday, and that's an awesome place to be. So what we want to do is we want to ask you just to take a few minutes at your tables, and if there's only a couple of you, maybe join a bigger table so that you can hear more from other people, and just share something that's still resonating with you from yesterday, something that you're still chewing on and that you're working through. It doesn't mean that this is what I'm going to do about it, but it's just something that's still resonating with you so that you can hear where other people are at, and then we'll jump into our program. So we're talking 5-10 minutes. Koyanak bak.